Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. And today's video is a little bit of a shout out because the person who submitted this particular replay, Emilia FV, also has their own YouTube channel. It's quite small, just over 300 subscribers at the moment. It's probably safer to say that she's actually just restarted her own YouTube channel, mostly featuring World of Tanks content, but also with a little bit of Division 2 PvP thrown in. So if you like what you see in today's video, then by all means check the link down below in the video description, head over to her own channel and give her a look. I'm sure if she gets enough traffic she'll start putting some more content up. Anyway, on with today's battle. This is the new, well it's not that new now, it's been out about a month, Swedish tier 10 medium tank, the UDES 1516, and I've actually had this video recorded for about 2 weeks, but I was hesitant to put it up because most of the World of Tanks videos on my channel for the last 2 weeks have pretty much just been these new Swedish mediums. But this is the first time I've shown the tier 10, which is very similar to the tier 8 and the tier 9, except for, well, the turret really. This turret actually has some armour. The tank has the same low profile and very well sloped frontal armour on the hull and the turret, but unlike the tier 8, this turret does not get overmatched by the majority of guns that fire back at it. And with that typically Swedish hydro-pneumatic suspension, which is similar to, but not exactly the same as the siege mode that you get on the Swedish tank destroyers, on the medium tanks it's completely automatic. It just depends how fast the tank is going. Once you're travelling below 10 kilometers per hour, the suspension kicks in, which gives you up to 14 degrees of gun depression over the front of the tank. And it stays in effect until the vehicle exceeds 19 kilometers per hour. And it's the combination of that suspension and the ridiculously sloped armour that allows you to turn the front of this tank, hull and turret, into an effective auto bounce zone for the vast majority of calibers of guns that are going to be shooting at you. Of course, if you get shot at from the sides and the rear, you shouldn't expect any sympathy. That M48 appears to want to fight. Maybe he knows something we don't. The only backup and support that Emilia has over here are a Type 4 Heavy and a Conqueror. Now those are both good tanks, but there's only 2 of them. And the M48's disappeared for the moment, but he's probably got some support arriving. So Emilia decides it's time to relocate, and that's when she spots the Batchat. Now this was definitely a case of wrong place, wrong time for that Batchat, because he ducked in behind those rocks in order to reload. And so, with the second shot, carving off a chunk of his health and blowing his tracks off, and with his gun still not reloaded, he knows he's doomed and didn't even bother using the repair kit. And in the length of time it took for that to happen, the M48's friends have turned up, or at least the first 2 of them. An enemy Type 4 Heavy and a Martian. And I am pretty sure, yep, there is also a T-49 skulking around over there, so we are actually quite heavily outnumbered on this flank. Emilia decides that she's going to at least attempt to put a shot into the T-49, and then she spots a much juicier target, the side of a Jaegeru. It's not often, I mean you can penetrate a T-49 from any angle, but this tank would have problems penetrating a Jaegeru from the front, so given the side of that thing to shoot at, she takes the shot. And now with nothing better to shoot at, she pumps a shot into the T-49 as well. Now, the odds for Emilia's team, at least on this side of the map, are not getting any better. There's an Emil II has joined the Type 4 Heavy and the Conqueror up to the north. Oh, there's the M48, I was wondering where he'd gone. But there's also an enemy Emil II down there as well. And the Martian and enemy Type 4 Heavy have just been reinforced by an enemy WZ-111-14. Which is kind of depressing because her team outnumber the enemy everywhere else and they're still getting their asses handed to them. Oh, that's not going to polish out. Well, that was handy. An Amarak on a full health WZ-111-14. That's evened the odds a little. And with the M48 elsewhere, that probably means that these two have nobody protecting their rear. Oh, Emilia took a shot from the rear herself and it did go into the tracks without any damage, but this means she's going to have to get in close. Which shouldn't be a problem, providing the Type 4 Heavy keeps its attention focused to the front. She can take her time dealing with the Martian. Now friendly artillery did broadcast the warning that they were about to drop a shot into this area. But they quite clearly thought, well you know what, screw you, I warned you, And even though Emilia was there, they take the shot anyway. And that's the first actual damage that she's suffered in this game at the hands of friendly artillery. But they've taken out the Martian, and they've taken out the Type 4 Heavy. And the rest of the team haven't been doing great, but they've at least managed to fight the enemy to a standstill elsewhere. Now for the enemy Emil II, who, to his credit, is clearly paying attention to the map, a relative rarity in World of Tanks random battles, was fighting the middle, and has realised that he's about to get outflanked, has no interest in fighting an enemy Emil II, UDES 1516, Type 4 Heavy and Conqueror, and is pulling back, presumably, in an attempt to get some kind of fire support from the Jaegeru, who is still back there. And so the burning question uppermost in Emilia's mind right now is just how much attention has the Jaegeru been paying to the map, and yep, he's facing this way. However, it's not all bad, because while he might have his gun pointing in more or less the right direction, he's got an awful lot of targets to choose from. The Jaegeru and the Emil II have just found themselves in a target-rich environment. Unfortunately for the Jaegeru, his gun just doesn't really fire fast enough for him to be able to take advantage of that. The Emil's gotten himself outflanked by the friendly Emil II. Backs up so the Jaegeru can't shoot her. Oh, engine fire. Is that going to be a kit? It is. Free damage. We'll take it. The Jaegeru is now living on borrowed time. He's not the only enemy tank up in that direction. There's also an S-tank up there, but the S-tank, because it's just as fast going forwards as it is going backwards, has the option of relocating. The question is he going to abandon the Jaegeru, or is he going to stand and fight and back him up? Which wouldn't be a terrible idea, but oh, hang on a second. We'll just finish off the artillery first. A Jaegeru and an S-tank making a stand together can be very scary, because you've got the combination of the Jaegeru's one-shot knockout punch and that guy's blistering damage per minute and rate of fire. You don't want to get into a trade with one of those things. They will do more damage to you than you will to them, unless of course they get distracted by the opportunity to get the killing shot on a low health Emil II, in which case by all means finish them off while their attention's elsewhere. And then follows it up by doing exactly the same thing with a sneaky snipe into the top hatch of the Jaegeru over there while he was trying to decide which target he wanted to shoot at the most. At this point, with only 2 tanks left on the enemy team, it is kind of difficult to see how Emilia's team could possibly lose. Although you do have to be careful when you say things like that in the World of Tanks random battle, because it has a habit of coming back and biting you in the arse. It's kind of ironic though that the last 2 tanks surviving on the enemy team are 2 of the first tanks that Emilia crossed swords with during the course of this battle, the M48 and the T49. And the M48 was spotted just a couple of seconds ago on the top of the hill. Right up there. Now if the T49 is with him, this could be a problem, because while this armour is very heavily sloped, it's not actually that thick. And this tank does take a lot of damage from high explosive. There's the M48. Shot on the move missed. T49's just been spotted going for the artillery, which means she can now afford to actually take a hit from the M48, because she's guaranteed to get the kill without having to worry about collecting a high explosive enema from any T49s that might happen to be hanging around as well. T49 managed to get the kill on the GW Tiger, bit of a consolation prize there for him really, and he's now hightailing it in the other direction. And with Emilia's team capping, and you can't really blame them for it, I mean all of the tanks sitting there in the cap circle are very low on health and one-shot kills for a T49 lying in ambush, although it is kind of funny that the only other tank on Emilia's team actually giving chase is the Type 4 Heavy. Very slowly, laboriously, and it has to be said optimistically, heading north in an attempt to cut off the T49's escape. And the T49 could easily one-shot Emilia too, but not today. He's saving his health for the next battle. And while there was no chance that Emilia was going to get a Pools medal out of that match, that ship has long sailed, I'm sure she's entirely happy with the Radley Walters medal and the 10,000 damage that she did. Well played, Emilia. Like I said, Emilia does have her own YouTube channel, mostly World of Tanks content, although she's been dabbling in a little bit of Division 2 PvP as well. And if you like what you saw in today's video, then I definitely encourage you to go and check the link in the video description and hopefully find some more stuff that you're going to find enjoyable. But that's it from me for today. Emilia, thank you for the replay. Everybody else, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.